Good morning, guys. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are doing fantastic today. Well, I am. Thank God it's the weekend. So in today's video, I'm discussing with you the day Child Protective Services was called on me. Still haunts me till this day. So anyway, this happened a few years ago, and at the time we were living in Virginia Beach. Then my husband got notice that he actually would be transferred to Jacksonville, Florida for at least 2 months. So he decided, okay, since I'm going to be gone for only 2 months, let's just go to Jacksonville as a family. So I was like, okay, fine, because Liam wasn't in school. He was only 3 years old at this point. So he went ahead of us, and then we flew to Jacksonville a week later. So we decided, since it's us getting another place just for 2 months, so we stayed in a hotel. And which was all cool because it was a very nice place. And besides that, this hotel, within like maybe 2 blocks, there was grocery store, takeout, whatever I needed. If I needed anything, I would just walk because he would take the car to work. We only had one car at the time. So all well and good. So we were, I wouldn't say stuck in the house for most of the day, but I would take Liam out occasionally just to, to wear some energy off and stuff like that. So the one day Liam was jumping and jumping and jumping on the bed. This child was so full of energy. He had energy for days. He was just a hyper child. So anyway, the one day was jumping on the bed, and didn't this child fall and hit his head on the nightstand? My nerves were shot because this child was bleeding so much. And I'm the type of person, it's like, wherever I go, I don't care where it is, I'm always taking my curry powder with me because my husband loves his food from home. So at the end of the day, I always carry my curry powder on me. Don't judge me. So anyway, I went and I took some curry powder, and I don't know if you know this, but if you put curry powder on a wound, it actually stops the bleeding within seconds. So I went and I got the curry powder and I put it on the wound, and he cried because obviously curry powder is going to burn, but it does the job. Put the curry powder on and it literally just did stop the bleeding within seconds. I think maybe a week and a half went by after all this unfolded, and he was just getting too caught up and bored and doing wrong things in this room. So I said to him, son, go play outside, which, in a hotel, it's like the door is, you can see everything that goes on. So anyway, he went and he played outside, and the next minute I just heard this big bang, and I ran outside and Liam is laying flat on his back. And then when he saw me, he got up so quickly, and I'm talking about this bang was so loud, people actually came out their rooms to see what was going on. And they were screaming at me from every different direction. Is he okay? Is he okay? I'm like, yes, he's fine. Thank you. So I went inside. I closed the door. I went straight to the fridge and I got some ice and I put it on the back of his head. So, when a child falls, they're not supposed to sleep. And he could not keep his eyes open. At this point, I am freaking out because I couldn't get hold of my husband at work because of security purposes. He worked on the Navy ships. And then I had nobody else to call. I don't have friends. I don't have family. I don't know anybody. At this point, as I said, I'm only in the United States for like a few months. So I don't know what to do. I was just freaking out myself. So I ended up calling a friend in New York. And she was like, now, get off this phone and call 911. I'm like, okay. So I hung up with her and I called 911. The fire department was there in split second, I'm telling you. They were there in no time. So when they came, they explained to me, look, we cannot touch him because he's still a baby or he's very young. We're not allowed to. And I was like floored. I'm like, what? They said, no, he needs to go to the hospital immediately. So while they were waiting for the ambulance, they were, checking, keeping an eye on him, monitoring him. And then I did notice that there were like 3 of them standing outside and were chatting amongst each other. But then I just brushed it off because it's like, can't wait for this ambulance to come. So when the ambulance did come, they loaded us up immediately. And typical Liam, he's in the ambulance and he's like looking everywhere. He's just been so inquisitive and asking questions. Now he's all of a sudden wide awake. So we get to the hospital and kids get seen to first, and then this one doctor came in. So he felt the back of his head. He's like, okay, fine. And then another doctor came in, or it was a nurse. And then she's like, looked at me, and then she looked at Liam, and then she walks out. So we left in the room, in the emergency room for quite a while. It felt like forever. So anyway, another nurse came in and I'm like, why? What's the problem? What's going on? She's like, they're calling Child Protective Services. I'm like, what? Why? Oh, they feel he's in danger. I said, in danger of what? They said, because of the cut he has above his eye. I'm like, that's so old. It happened so long ago. She's like, I'm sorry, but they'll be in with you shortly. At this point, I am nervous as hell because, like I said, I don't have anybody here. I couldn't get hold of my husband. I'm by myself. I don't even have a car. So at this point, I don't know what's going to go on. So anyway, eventually this woman, it felt like hours. Eventually this woman came in with like a notepad or something. So she asked me all these questions and she's like, oh, why are you living in a hotel? I said, because my husband is working on a job for 2 months and it was senseless us getting a place because we're only going to be here for 2 months and we have a home in Virginia Beach. Where's your husband? I said, he's at work. Why isn't he here? I said, because I can't get hold of him. Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. So she's sitting there and she's filling out paperwork and I don't know what she's doing. And then another doctor comes in and he takes a look at Liam. He says, no, this is old. It's already healing. He's fine. And then he examines the bump at the back of his head and says, no, he'll be fine. No, nothing wrong. And so anyway, they came and they took him for like x-rays or did something. I don't know what they did to him. And he came back. And then she's like, can I have your husband's phone number? I'm like, sure, you can have his phone number. Gave him the phone number. And then all they did was like release Liam. Told me to keep an eye on him, monitor him, and he may have a headache or what. I must give him Tylenol, all that. So as I said, I didn't have a car, so I took a taxi home. And when I got home, it was time for my husband to come home. So when he did come home, I told him the whole story. Wasn't even in the middle of the story, there was a knock on our door. Hi, we from CPS. I'm like, oh my gosh. So my husband says, yes. Oh, we had an incident with your son. Is your wife home? So I says, yes, come on in. So they said, oh, we were just sent here for a follow-up because this was what happened. They got the idea that he wasn't in a safe environment. And so my husband was like, what are you talking about? There's my son, there's my wife. We live in a hotel because of the mere fact that I'm only here for 2 months. So how do you feel that he's not in a safe environment? Oh, because of the gash he has on above his eye, and then now he's got this big knot here to be rushed to the emergency room. So my husband was like, his mouth has no filter. He's like, what do you expect? He's a 3-year-old kid. He's rambunctious. He's full of energy. What do you want him to do? Oh no, we were just following up. And so anyway, all was well with that. They left. Then again, there was another knock on the door, but this time it was 2 of the firemen that were there when I called them. So they said, hi, we just want to bring it to your attention that we did notice that when we came, the floors were wet and that we didn't see a wet floor sign. So I'm like, oh, okay. Now, as I said to you guys before, I'm only in the United States now for a few months. So I don't know the ins and the outs, what's legal, what's not legal, and back and forth this. So they said, you know what, we suggest that you go to the manager or the owner of this hotel and you let them know exactly what happened, because this can be their fault. So my husband was like, thank you so much, I appreciate you guys, and chatting with them. And then they still hung out for a little bit, played with Liam, you know, finding out if he's okay and stuff like that. So they left. So my husband said to me, you know what, I'll be back, I'm just going to go downstairs. So he went downstairs and he spoke to whoever was on the night shift. And he explained to her, he's like, you know what, this is exactly what happened. This is what we were informed about. No wet floor sign there. My son fell, he had to be rushed to the emergency room, blah, blah, blah. She says, you know what, I'll take it further and I'll talk to my manager about it. Okay, all well and good. He got a phone call 2 days later, and this was the manager of the hotel. And he was like, I am so sorry for whatever has happened, and I do apologize, and it shouldn't have been this way. They should have had a sign there, and going on and on and on. And if there's anything you'll need, please feel free to let me know. So my husband said, yes, there's something that we need. We would appreciate it if you'll take care of his medical bills. He was like, and then he says like, okay, we'll discuss it. So him not knowing that we had already discussed this with a friend of ours, and she was telling us that that is such a lawsuit on this hotel's hands, because anytime if you've mopped the floor, or even like in the stores when something has spilled, they've got to put wet floor sign, because if anybody else falls, that's a lawsuit on their hands. So anyway, because of that reaction that he gave my husband said to me, pack everything up, we're moving out of here. I'm like, really? He's like, yes. He says, that man should have phoned me and said to me, you know what, don't worry about anything, any medical bills, I'll take care of it. So I understood where he's coming from. So I said, okay. I packed up everything. He says, okay, wait in the car, I'm coming now. So he went to the front office and he says, can you please check me out? And I will not be staying here anymore, so you can forget about it. And can you please let your manager know that I will be in touch? She was like, okay. And I won't forget, he still left one of his caps behind, the ones that he loved the best. It was a red one. But anyway, 2 days later, we were at another hotel, and this manager called him and he says, look, Mr. Smith, thank you very much for your stay, and I'm sorry that you had to leave, and I do understand where you come from, and can you please forward me all the medical bills that your son has incurred, and we'll take care of it. So my husband was like, wow, if you had said that 2 days ago, we would have still been living there. But because you gave me that response, that's why we moved out. So lo and behold, I did call the hospital when I got back from Virginia Beach to see if there was any outstanding balances. And I called the billing department, and then they transferred me to like 3 different people, because I didn't have an account number, I didn't have a bill, nothing. So they just went on his name and date of birth. And the woman said to me, she says, oh no, Mrs. Smith, everything's been taken care of. I'm like, okay, wow. So at the end of the day, they actually dodged a bullet, because we could have literally sued them for whatever reason, because they were incompetent, they didn't take care of their business, they didn't do what's right. So at the end of the day, it was terrifying for me, because just to think that somebody would think that you're harming your child. My kids are my world. They mean everything to me. So that was really so frightening for me, because what if that wound, or what if Liam had fallen while that wound was still fresh? What would have happened? Would my child have been taken away? But like I say, for me, it was very scary. I wouldn't want anybody to go through that, because I'm a mother, and as I say, my children mean everything to me. So I just want to thank you guys so much for watching this video, and if you haven't yet subscribed, please subscribe, ring the notification bell so you'll be notified each time I upload. And yeah, thank you guys so much. Have a fabulous weekend, and I'll see you on the next one. Love you guys. Bye.